To pick up where we left off, I want you to obviously imagine that we built out obviously multiple participants in the experiment, and we have a moderator who can run the experiment. We have these virtual profiles, um, and we're able to allow these virtual agents to make decisions on behalf of the real people um, about the shared resource, about what they're going to do with the common property resource. So we can use it, and then we can now analyze the machines with the machines, right? So yeah, it's starting to become layer cakes here, but we can use the LLM to listen in, transcribe, and then evaluate those transcriptions as the experiment's going on at the end of each round of game if we got enough compute power to be able to then signal to us to let us know as moderators. Say it was a real moderator instead of a virtual moderator, but we could encode it into the virtual moderator to see if the group are heading towards overusing the resource, the tragedy of the commons. If they are, we can put in treatment effects, just like in a chemical reaction, you'll deal with this. And it is worth looking into things like control theory. Control theory is a really important discipline right now. If you look at MIT, they're doing a lot of work in control theory, especially around manifolds. AIs as black boxes, are very much like an engine. It's a big explosive thing, so you need control mechanisms. Fire is another great example. A burning building, you can only put controls around it. It's kind of an uncontrollable thing. That's what AIs are now. They're kind of uncontrollable. All we can do is put manifolds to control them. So one of the tools for that is Databricks. So once you get past and move towards a more advanced model, Databricks, which is based off of the Apache Spark, an open source project, allows data like we have. So imagine, obviously bringing data in, and one of the things you potentially could do is take all the emails and records of the person inside the enterprise. And if that was agreed and it was ethical, you could then build out a very comprehensive profile for yourself as an agent, myself acting in my role at the Country Fire Authority, and could use my emails to generate that set of data, and data could be coming in to always refresh who I am, and my virtual participant self could be participating in these other experiments to see, hey, well, which teams would I work in better? Which are my values, which are my biases, those kinds of things. And then obviously we've showed the RAG capability. But what really kind of gets exciting, I think, exciting thing about Databricks then is what you can do to start to bring in other tools. So one of the best ones is LangChain, and the ability to then have these different, whether it's RAGs or agents, which we've talked about, or different ways of storage and indexing the interviews, extracting the data, via different prompts, using all these different kinds of tools to chain together so that you can create your different experiments. So if you're doing surveys, just basic surveys, you can create one of these data pipelines that'll utilize these different AI constructs to be able to, do your experiment, analyze your experiment, participate in your experiment. You can be a whole team of experimenters now, right? And your participants and your moderators. You just gotta do the work. The best thing about LLMs is their capability to be the orchestrator around all of this. So what I'm really hoping I showed you today is the capability around what you have. So LangChain, here are just some of the kinds of concepts and tools. It's worth kind of having a read of this and what you can do to be able to, do text splitting. That's really powerful because you can kind of segment it. You can decide when data does come into a model, so you can decide output parsers, or this one's a good few-shot prompting by providing examples of a task to perform the prompt. So we're really started to kind of get going on this, and it is quite exciting times. There are other things I'd love to show in Databricks, but unfortunately, since I work for the Country Fire Authority, a lot of the data we're working with is private personal information. But yes, we do hope to publish research on that and talk about further what you're able to do. And then there's a lot of other ones. I really would encourage people, please contact me if you are working with Australian acts and regulations, because we could do some cool stuff together in terms of being able to see see what the issues are inside that legislation. Why is legislation creating, we looked at brokerages, insurance brokerages, and immediately the thing that popped out the AI saw was like there's information asymmetry, which is basically when one person sits in the middle and knows the information of these other two people and therefore can play each other off of each other, right? So that's a really classic sort of triangle or trap that you see in economic experimental games. So yeah, my hypothesis moving forward, of course, is that I really do believe that virtual experiments could provide significantly statistic data. If we did enough of these experiments and had enough participants and started to build up this kind of virtual world of experiments, and the data will be able to show us more effective ways to coordinate resource use, common property resource use especially, and prevent those shortages that inevitably happen with those kinds of CPR goods. I must admit that we did think that this was only a 30-minute workshop, and so we felt we were pressed for time anyways. Who knows if we came on time or not. But if you are interested in learning kind of more of these kind of res hacks, if you're interested in learning more of these res hacks, feel free to give me a ping, get my information from Cameron. I'm glad to look for collaborators and work with people on this stuff. And yeah, hope you found something interesting and then it was valuable. Back to Cameron. It's time for some more questions for you. It is a workshop after all.